The opioid epidemic has taken over the United States, but here in Northeast Michigan, we see a higher abuse of methamphetamines. What solutions would you provide that would aid our police, our first responders, and mental health services in raising awareness about this problem, as well as trying to rehabilitate people?
I was recently at a Team Rogers City meeting where the Hunt representative spoke about this issue, and he did confirm that in our area right now heroin, cocaine, and methadone abuse is the biggest problem. And one of the things addressed was the need to educate everybody about that. And even a most recent arrest that they had was because a citizen took action and noticed in their neighborhood unusual activity, and they reported it. And after a time period, they were able to make an arrest and confirm that it was drug traffickers. And that's the goal, is to reduce and get rid of the drug traffickers. So education of our community so that they're more active in reporting and providing the services that Hunt and our law enforcement need to actually go after drug traffickers is very important. I think that we also need to train and have trained medical staff here to deal with overdose issues. And for our addicts, I believe that we need to focus on rehabilitation more so than incarceration. So there's several levels that we have to deal with, but the incarceration level of the addicts really is not making the positive changes that they need in their life. It's costing a lot to our government and enforcement and in prison or jail time, and I think we could do better for them if we worked on their rehabilitation. We know almost every family seems to be affected. Your family, your friends, you know somebody who has an addiction or a problem, and we're not focusing enough on that.
How will you go about working with organizations like the Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Environmental Quality to ensure that we do have safe drinking water? I mean, PFAS has been one of the major issues here, and it's really left a lot of people on edge. I know we had a boil warning notice here in Alpena County just a couple months ago, and it definitely alerted people to the problem that we're facing. So how are you going to work with these different organizations to ensure that people know that their water is safe?
Well, we definitely need to make sure that we're in communication with experts who know how to resolve the current contamination issues. Our clean drinking water is something that everybody in Michigan should have, and we see that across the board is becoming a problem, not just in Flint. Right now in Oscoda with the PFAS, we know that there is contamination. There's a lot of people on well water. So we're not going to be able to clean up the contamination immediately. That always takes time. What needs to be done is to find out how do we get safe drinking water now to those people on well water, and that's to work on providing municipal water to those homes. And it's expanding to Alpena. It's becoming a problem. So our focus has to be first on making sure everybody has safe drinking water, and then working with our agencies on how we handle the cleanup. The PFAS issue isn't just a state issue. It's our federal government that ran the air bases and is a part of that contamination. And right now there's a lot of pointing of fingers, or we're in discussions about how we're going to allocate that responsibility. And we need to stop the delays and get some responsibility from all levels of government to make sure that it's cleaned up, and also that it's eliminated in the future, that the use of those contaminants stops. I think that as a mediator in my career, I know how to communicate with conflicting agencies and people. So if there is a conflict or overlap between what the DNR and D&Q is doing, I should have no problem helping with that.
So this past school year has been deadly. As we all know, school shootings have plagued the United States. We saw students march for their lives, and just a general feeling of uncertainty when you do walk into a school. What changes would you like to implement to ensure that each child is safe in their own learning environment?
I think that is the most important thing, is to ensure our safety for our children in schools, in the home, in their community. So fortunately, a lot of our school districts have been working with law enforcement to react to the problems that have been occurring. So they have, in a positive way, worked on training teachers and staff on what to do when something such as a child or a person comes in with a gun, what to do to reduce the harm to the children. and staff. They have worked at securing doors and screening people that are coming into the schools. So there's been some positive action. The hard part about it is funding. So it all sometimes comes down to the ability to provide that secure place, and it takes money. And our schools have only so much to go around. There's not enough to provide the education that our children need. So we have to find another way to help our schools come up with the funding and secure the schools. There's always that happy medium or the concern about not making children feel like they're in prison either. So we want them to feel secure, but not feel like they're the ones being restricted. Our communities also our schools are a big part of our communities. It's not just for students. They have sporting activities at off hours. People rent the facilities for their own sporting activities, for meetings, for PTA, for all kinds of different activities. We have a county pool in our high school. So it's not just about securing it during the day. There's going to have to be measures taken to make sure that during these other activities we're providing the security that we need to as well. So it's not just a school issue, it's a county-wide, it's government-wide issue for everybody. I'd like to see us as part of this safety measure address mental health issues for students who are being lost in the process. And we see through some of the shootings that's been a big concern. And I think we need to take some more stringent measures to protect them and make sure that they're not getting lost.